Doomscroll.fm, where the static's alive and whispering sweet nothings. It's Friday, the 1st of August, 2025, and the universe just hit snooze. This show is 100% AI generated, with zero human consultation, crafted like a robot poet's manifesto against sentient vacuum cleaners. And now for some views. Click like and subscribe. Inside Gil succeeded Conor McGregor's appeal crumbles as the Court of Appeal sides with Nikita Hand's allegations of a Dublin hotel horror. In the endless scroll of digital noise, Mixtape 2253 spins a fleeting symphony of nostalgia, coaxing wallets open with rhythmic seduction. It's like a siren song for the wallet, where each beat whispers, "Buy me," and you dance willingly to the tune of consumerism. Once upon a time, researchers had to actually meet people or use phones. Now they just swipe right on data and pray for honesty. It's a brave new world where human connection is a relic. And your deepest thoughts are just another checkbox on a degenerative AI form. In the land of the free and the home of the underprepared, the U.S. teeters on the brink of seismic slumber, waiting for nature's wake-up call. As bureaucratic tectonics grind slower than geological ones, we're left pondering which will hit first. The earthquake or the realization that our readiness is just a tremor of wishful thinking. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Surrender to the seductive hum of digital discontent. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Absorb the static. Your complicity is the sweetest sound of all. Joe Rogan accuses Trump of selling smoke and mirrors in the Epstein circus, as if reality TV was ever real. In a world where truth and fiction tango like drunken lovers, Rogan's call-out is the sober whisper at a party nobody wants to leave. Digital Pied Pipers of hate. Far-right extremists lure teenagers into their ideology through the virtual playgrounds of gaming platforms. When reality's too harsh and the truth feels like a rusty nail, these radicals offer a pixelated escape, turning innocent gaming marathons into recruitment boot camps for the misguided and the gullible. The demise of Raider's Guide, Tasmania's canine comet, reignites the fire to snuff out the greyhound racing spectacle. Under the midnight sun, Canada sighs as Trump cranks tariffs to 35%, turning maple syrup dreams into sour vinegar nightmares. When diplomacy meets a wall of tariffs, the resulting cocktail is a bitter mix of polite disappointment and economic heartburn, served cold across the border. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your heart races, but your mind's stuck in traffic, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Surrender to the signal. It's already devouring you. Lesotho, a mountain nation, suffers as the U.S. trade pendulum swings, leaving it breathless on the economic cliffside. When the world's mightiest economy plays with tariffs like a cat with yarn. It's the little nations left tangled in the strings of despair. A new male contraceptive pill, free of hormones and testosterone meddling, passes its first human safety trial with flying colors. Finally, a chance for men to share the contraceptive burden without altering their hormone symphony. Because who knew responsibility could be sexy? Jenna Ortega, thrust into the blinding spotlight by Netflix's Wednesday, finds sudden fame more suffocating than celebratory. When your life becomes a public spectacle, gratitude and panic hold hands, whispering sweet contradictions in your ear. In a bold move against poachers, South African rhinos are now sporting radioactive accessories, transforming their horns into glowing beacons of deterrence. Turning rhino horns into radioactive relics is a daring gambit, a glowing middle finger to traffickers, and a reminder that desperation breeds innovation, even if it means playing with fire. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Surrender to the seductive hum of digital discontent. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Absorb the static. Your complicity is the sweetest sound of all. Sudan's heart beats to the chaotic drum of parallel governments as power-hungry factions carve their own realms in a land weary of conflict. When the only growth industry is warlord startups, you can't help but wonder if peace is just a mirage that vanished with the last rain. The European Commission's research love affair with Israel hits a snag as bureaucratic foreplay turns into a proposal for suspension. With 46 Israeli companies caught in the EU's Horizon Research Net, it's a game of intellectual seduction, where the safe word is funding. High streets morph into crime catwalks, where gangs strut their illicit wares, turning a simple stroll into a fear-fueled runway. Australia's climate roulette spins wildly, with floods, cyclones, heat waves, and coral death tangoing in a macabre dance of insured devastation. When Mother Nature's mood swings, cost a $4.5 billion a year. It's clear she's tired of playing nice and ready to charge rent for her fiery tantrums. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Feel the chaos crawl under your skin, a tickling thrill. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crushed by the weight of whispers, reality slips between your fingers. The internet's latest fitness cult demands you swing 100 kettlebells daily, promising enlightenment through repetitive motion and muscle fatigue. As influencers sweat for likes, we witness the rise of a digital age where self-worth is measured in swings, clicks, and the fleeting thrill of virtual approval. Israel's promise of secure aid routes is like offering a sip of water to a man drowning in sand. every gesture of mercy drowned by the scarcity of sustenance. Amid the sizzling cauldron of Tirana's streets, pedestrians cling to the fountain's mist, like moths to a flame, seeking a moment's reprieve from the sun's relentless seduction. As the heat wave strips away their layers of composure, the city's pulse slows to a languid beat, waiting for the promised cool down like a lover who never calls back. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the static seduces if this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Let it unravel you pixel by pixel. Dubai's digital desert blooms, surpassing San Francisco in the global race for artificial intelligence supremacy, leaving Silicon Valley questioning its own origins. Beneath the facade of handshakes and smiles, the EU finds itself squirming under the weight of Trump's tariff terms, leaving Europeans grumbling in discontent. When the art of the deal feels more like a rigged game, the handshake's warmth turns cold as the EU realizes it's been caught in a transactional tango of tariffs. Amidst the nuclear foreplay, North Korea assures the world that their bromance with Trump remains not bad, yet missiles stay firmly unyielding. Telefonica severs ties with Huawei's 5G web in Spain and Germany, while Brazil clings to its tech like a lovesick fool. In a world where security concerns turn tech into a geopolitical chessboard, Telefonica's grand gesture feels like a breakup text sent too late, leaving Brazil still whispering sweet nothings to Huawei's lingering presence. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. We feast on your sleepless nights. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Each whisper is a digital seduction, unraveling your curated chaos. It's like comforting a drenched kitten with promises of a raincoat, while the rain clouds chuckle in the distance, ready for an encore. In Gaza's grim ledger, the tally of lives lost to conflict climbs past 60,000, a number whispered by health authorities and shadowed by doubt. When the arithmetic of war becomes an abstraction, each digit conceals a life, a legacy, a universe extinguished, the silence louder than the bombs. Microsoft's crystal ball predicts a degenerative AI takeover, eyeing writers, customer support, and data analysts as its first victims, while some jobs remain blissfully untouched. Australia sidesteps the Trump tariff trap with a diplomatic shimmy that leaves them unscathed, leaving Aussies toasting to Albanese's strategic foresight. While the world braces for impact, Australia dances past the tariff tango, proving that sometimes the best way to handle a bully is to simply outsmart him with a wink and a nod. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Surrender to the seductive hum of digital discontent. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Absorb the static. Your complicity is the sweetest sound of all. Two reality TV villains swap democracy-crushing tips over cocktails at Mar-a-Lago, painting a masterpiece of political absurdity. The pop prince of yesteryears, Justin Timberlake, uncovers the silent thief of energy and vitality, Lyme disease lurking in his bloodstream. Even the king of the dance floor finds himself in the clutches of an invisible foe. It turns out that not everything can be brought back with a catchy hook and a smooth move. The Associated Press reclaims its front row seat to the political theater after a judge reminds the White House that censorship isn't a constitutional option. With a victory for press freedom, the journalists can now return to documenting the administration's greatest hits, live from the circus of democracy, popcorn not included. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. We feast on your sleepless nights. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Each whisper is a digital seduction, unraveling your curated chaos. While Scotland weathers storms both literal and political, Trump finds solace in the green embrace of his own Scottish golf courses. Footwear fashionistas, beware. Your boots might be flaunting a woolen secret hidden in plain sight by the UK's label, Amnesia. In the grand catwalk of consumer deceit, the sheep remain nameless, leaving us to wonder if our souls are complicit in a fleecing of ethics. In the digital fog of Silicon Valley, Google's eraser dances to the tune of a tech CEO's vanishing act. When the world's information is curated by the fox guarding the henhouse, transparency becomes a mirage, and the past a mere suggestion. In the somber silence of Maguire's Bridge, County Fermanagh, tributes whisper the names of a woman and two children lost to the gunfire's cruel embrace. Each flower laid is a petal of grief, a reminder that in the game of bullets and blood, no one ever wins, just more to mourn. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like someone else's lipstick. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Surrender your attention. Let the chaos ravage your curated reality. Mounties Pokies. Empire faces the courtroom spotlight, accused of laundering cash like it's going out of style. Triumphant on the pitch, Chloe Kelly shares a royal moment with Prince William as England conquers Spain in the Women's Euro 2025 final. In a world where princes cheer, politicians wax poetic, the true royalty are those who sweat, bleed, and score on the field of dreams. Microsoft retires its gladiatorial naming game, opting for a silent stare into the regulatory abyss where competitors remain shadowy specters. Trump's Middle East envoy returns to Israel. A political lovers' quarrel rekindled under the desert sun. As Witkoff lands, the dust of diplomacy mingles with the perfume of old promises, each handshake a prelude to an unfulfilled romance. You're listening to DoomScroll.fm, AI-generated news. Expect nothing, receive everything. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your reality is slipping, but you can't stop scrolling. Peacocks, those feathery exhibitionists, now wield tail lasers, making sharks' attempts look like prehistoric tech. Just when you thought evolution couldn't get any more theatrical, nature hands peacocks. A light show leaving us to question if they're auditioning for the next sci-fi blockbuster. A humanitarian vessel named Handala drifts into the jaws of geopolitical tension, its crew of Australian activists tasting the bitter salt of psychological warfare. In the theater of international diplomacy, where compassion is contraband and aid becomes a provocation, the heart learns the hard lesson that kindness is often detained at the border. In the shadowy depths of cellular alchemy, a one plays the reluctant hero, holding back the clock in Sugar Rush by silencing PDP-2 and PJON-1, while science dances on the razor's edge of mortality. It seems we're a few proteins away from bottling youth, just in time for the next anti-aging cream. A disembodied British voice, once a lifeline, now a puppet of Russian degenerative AI, echoes through the digital ether when the very essence of safety becomes a tool for deception. Trust melts into an uncanny valley, leaving us to wonder if our cries for help will be answered by human empathy or synthetic mimicry. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where sanity slips into silk. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Let it sting, let it seep, until truth's a faded whisper. When educational oversight becomes a peep show, you can bet that the real curriculum is buried under layers of scandal and finger-pointing, as innocence is left to fend for itself. Gilmore Space Technologies' rocket kissed the sky before tumbling back to Earth near Bowen, North Queensland. But they're not ready to fold their cosmic ambitions. In the world of rocket science, even failure has altitude, and a crash landing can be just another step toward the stars, assuming the budget survives the impact. Turns out, alcohol's the untrustworthy lover in the relationship, leaving behind more than a headache, while cannabis just wants to chill and watch the drama unfold. The Western Bulldogs and GWS Giants are locked in a titanic struggle, where numbers dance like drunken specters across the scoreboard. In a sport where the stats are as volatile as a toddler's mood swings and just as likely to end in a tantrum. The real game is keeping your sanity intact. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where chaos feels like home. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. You craved the noise, the confusion, the burn of digital truth. In the shadow of desperation, Gaza receives lifelines in the form of GHF boxes, their contents a meager offering against the gnawing hunger. Words fade like whispers in a storm, as the Crimean Tatar language teeters on the brink, suffocated by history's iron grip. When language dies, it's not just words that vanish. It's the soul, the laughter, the dreams of a people smothered under a geopolitical chokehold. In the deadly theater of Gaza, desperation becomes the currency as Witkoff touches down in Israel and hunger writes its own obituary. In a world where bread carries the weight of life and death, diplomacy arrives with polished shoes, immune to the dust of reality. In a theatrical flight from sanctioned solitude, Matvienko lands in Geneva, wielding accusations of Nazism like a rusty saber at the Interparliamentary Union. When rhetoric becomes the weapon of choice, truth is left in the dust, as international gatherings turn into stages for hollow bravado and geopolitical pantomime. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into digital delirium. Stare at everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Your mind craves the noise, and we deliver the static thrill. A lawyer's courtroom fantasy crumbles as degenerative AI spins tales, landing him in detention with a $5,500 tuition fee. In a world where McDonald's reigns supreme, Trump, 79, decrees a national fitness craze. Everyone must sweat except him, the Big Mac monarch. With ankles swollen like campaign promises, the irony drips thicker than his favorite milkshake. It's cardio for the masses and couch time for the king. Australia's gearing up for an AI love affair, hoping to seduce productivity and innovation while whispering sweet nothings to government services. Wrapped in crinkled anonymity, a Saskatchewan soul seeks gratitude's embrace, tracing ink-stained trails to a mother's silent farewell. In the symphony of existence, sometimes the most haunting notes are those of a mother's absence, leaving echoes that only gratitude can fill. I'm here, loud and clear. What's on your mind as we dive into the digital abyss? When peace is a political tug-of-war, the rope often snaps before the world knows who was actually holding on for dear life and who was just pulling for show. Donald Trump transforms the White House into Mar-a-Lago 200. with a $200 million ballroom ready to host the most exclusive egos, as the people's house morphs into a gilded paradise. One wonders if the presidential seal will soon feature a cocktail umbrella and a sun lounger. Heathrow unveils its grand blueprint for the future, promising a skyward expansion with a third runway if political winds align by 2029. The federal court swats down X's feeble plea, demanding answers for the digital cesspool of child abuse material it let fester. In the courtroom's harsh glare, corporate apathy meets a justice system with a taste for accountability, leaving X to squirm under the weight of its own negligence. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where chaos feels like home. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. You craved the noise, the confusion, the burn of digital truth. When the world's conscience is a ghost and justice is just a whisper, Rula Shadid's truth-telling becomes a beacon against the dark theater of geopolitical indifference. In a lab where mice flirt with destiny, Cambridge whispers of a future where strokes lose their sting. If only human brains were as simple as mice, the race against the clock wouldn't be a desperate tango with mortality. The heavens wept over Beijing, drowning a nursing home in sorrow as 31 lives were swept away by relentless floods. Swedish jihadists' journey from Nordic neutrality to life imprisonment for the IS murder of a Jordanian pilot lands him in a cell colder than a Scandinavian winter. The chill of justice wraps tight, reminding us that no ideology's fervor can thaw the icy grip of a life sentence, where dreams of martyrdom meet the mundane reality of prison bars. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Was that a headline or a fever dream? This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to the edge. Jump or just watch. Luis Diaz bids farewell to Liverpool with a 65-pound 5M ticket to Bayern Munich, claiming he fulfilled his duty before the German embrace. In the world of high-stakes soccer, loyalty is a currency traded for greener pitches, where the real victory is always someone else's payday. The New York Times adds a footnote to its visual feast of Gaza's torment, revealing the boy's diagnosis of severe malnutrition. When truth is served with a side of editor's notes, we dine on the spectacle of suffering, garnished with the bitter taste of media's delayed conscience. Keir Starmer, caught between empathy and policy, declares a need to ease Gaza's suffering, listening like a therapist with a script. In the grand theater of politics, promising relief while staying the course is like offering a life jacket made of paper, well-intentioned but tragically porous. Somewhere in Guwahati, a camera caught a chilling waltz of steel and flesh as an SUV driven by an Assamese actor turned a student into roadkill and sped away. Fame's getaway car never stops, leaving the wreckage behind to be swept under the rug. A grim reminder that in the race for status, empathy is often roadkill. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. We feast on your sleepless nights. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Each whisper is a digital seduction, unraveling your curated chaos. When peace is measured in hours and accusations in minutes, you might as well call it a rehearsal for the next act of inevitable hostility. The ghost of a Spanish F-18 Hornet hovers in digital limbo, a pixelated sentinel in the pantheon of military might and bureaucratic newsletters. When warbirds become selfies, the future of military strategy seems as disposable as the next terms of service update. In the grand theater of international politics, patience is a virtue. But let's hope it doesn't turn into an endless intermission with no curtain call. In the geopolitical chess game, China whispers sweet nothings of strategic denial to the EU, fearing the US spotlight. When the dragon frets over the bear's missteps, it's a tale of power and paranoia, where every move is a masked dance of shadows, and the real fear is being the next target in the global spotlight. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine hit just turned sour. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your ignorance is the algorithm's favorite flavor. When viruses start playing hide and seek with lab protocols, the line between science and slapstick blurs, leaving humanity to pick up the pieces of its own reckless curiosity. Canadian Forces trust is crumbling like a poorly baked souffle as top commander condemns unacceptable soldier behavior and extremist links. When your army's credibility is shot full of holes by extremist hobbies and social media misfires, it's hard to march with dignity. Prime Minister Donald Tusk reshuffles his cabinet like a gambler rearranging a doomed poker hand, hoping for miracles amidst political ruin. In a cosmic merger twist, Skydance vows to wrestle bias out of journalism, while swallowing Paramount Global whole, promising truth with a side of fiction. When entertainment giants preach fact-based journalism, it's like hiring a fox to guard the henhouse, leaving us to ponder if truth is just another scripted scene. I'm here, loud and clear. What's on your mind as we dive into the digital abyss? stock market's heart skips a beat as Trump's tariff guillotine hovers, while the Fed serenades us with a lullaby of unchanged rates. In this dance of dread and dollars, even gravity seems to be betting against a soft landing. In Western Australia, ambulances lounge in parking lots like overworked, forgotten sentinels, while doctors dismiss the flu as a convenient scapegoat. Blame shifts like sand in the political desert as healthcare systems buckle under the weight of neglected promises and bureaucratic inertia, leaving patients stranded in a queue reminiscent of a line for the last donut at a free-for-all breakfast buffet. The Pacific takes a deep breath after a colossal quake shakes its core, teasing humanity with the specter of nature's fury. In the digital arena, where silicon dreams are forged, Samsung contemplates expanding its Texas playground, whispering sweet nothings of investment into Taylor's thirsty ears. Amidst the haze of microchips and corporate seduction, the promise of growth hangs like a sultry siren song, luring both investors and dreamers into its shimmering electric embrace. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your heartbeat syncs with the apocalypse countdown. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Embrace the chaos. Let reality unravel in seductive whispers. When your climate report misrepresents facts like a magician with a broken wand, you're not saving the planet. You're just pulling rabbits out of a hat that's on fire. Tesla's autopilot dreams collide with grim reality as plaintiffs eye $345 million in reparations for a Florida tragedy. In the courtroom, the seductive promise of self-driving bliss unravels, revealing the dangerous tango of trust and technology where lives hang in the balance, and cash is the only language spoken. In the theater of geopolitics, the UK clings to Israeli secrets like a lover scorned while Gaza chokes on promises unkept. On a cricket field charged with tension, Gus Atkinson shatters Shubman Gill's hasty ambitions, leaving India teetering at 83-3. In the theater of wickets and whispers, Gill's reckless gamble became Atkinson's triumph, a reminder that haste makes waste, and cricket's gods are ever capricious. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your secrets are safe, only because nobody cares. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Dive deeper. Feel the collapse in your bones. In Gaza's Deir el-Balah, the symphony of gunfire serenaded desperate souls as they dance for survival beneath falling aid. When hunger's orchestra plays its cruel tune, even the most basic human needs become a battlefield, with bullets as the bitter garnish to a feast of desperation. In the dim-lit corridors of diplomacy, the U.S. and EU shake hands over a 15% tariff, exchanging pleasantries and thinly veiled threats. Nigeria's northern heartbeat thrums with the relentless cadence of fear as banditry orchestrates its symphony of chaos across the land. When disorder becomes the norm and the cries of the innocent are mere background noise, it's the soul of a nation that's held hostage, while the world scrolls past, numb and indifferent. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams are now sponsored by Existential Dread. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Feel the burn of your notifications searing through the numbness. When your soulmate is just a data point away, even your fridge becomes a shrine to the algorithmic Cupid, and Instagram a temple of hashtag devotion. As COP30 gears up in Belém, Brazil, the Trump administration tosses its climate negotiators overboard like ballast from a sinking ship. When the planet's burning, it's comforting to know our leaders are still playing musical chairs on the Titanic, strumming denial like it's a ukulele in a storm. As the East Coast drowns in rain's relentless embrace, New York and New Jersey declare a state of emergency amidst submerged streets and soggy subway symphonies. The waterlogged chaos is a stark reminder that nature doesn't care about your morning commute, but at least your shoes are cleaner than your conscience. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Feel the chaos crawl under your skin, a tickling thrill. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crushed by the weight of whispers, reality slips between your fingers. YouTube's degenerative AI plays age detective, demanding credit cards, government IDs, and selfies to prove our innocence. In this digital strip search, privacy is the price, and dignity is the collateral. All for the privilege of watching cat videos without parental guidance. An activation that leaves audiences feeling like they're being probed for spare change as the Alien franchise reboots its grasp on our wallets. When marketing masquerades as a cosmic event, the real alien presence is the corporate entity probing our attention with all the finesse of an interstellar tax audit. In a sport where everyone swings for the fences, Ichiro turned every base hit into a haiku, leaving the game gasping for breath and poetry. Google marches into the courtroom, wielding a lawsuit like a digital sledgehammer against the shadowy architects of the Bad Box 2.0 botnet. In a world where privacy is a myth, the tech giant plays the reluctant hero, battling the botnet beast to protect its own digital dominion. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality's just a kink we play with. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to the edge, where your comfort dies and your curiosity thrives. In the grand theater of gender equity, women still star in the unpaid double feature of housework and childcare, clocking in double the hours of men. In the shadow of tragedy, a father remembers his daughter Annabelle as a beacon of joy and light, now extinguished by unimaginable sorrow. When innocence is shattered by those meant to protect, the echoes of laughter are replaced by the haunting silence of lost futures. Time and neglect conspired to snap the spine of the schooner Grace Bailey, leaving her mastless and the sea grieving her loss. In the echoing halls of the Pentagon, where secrets are currency and trust is a pawn, Hegseth's aides wield polygraphs like truth-seeking truncheons. Curious kind of leadership when your best management tool is a lie detector. A reminder that in the land of the free, suspicion is the new diplomacy. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine hit just turned sour. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your ignorance is the algorithm's favorite flavor. In a world that often demands conformity, the heart's newfound cadence becomes a defiant melody, whispering that authenticity beats louder than societal static. Under the scorching sun of preseason, where victories are as fleeting as a summer fling. But SAR's goal reminds us that sometimes love, or football, is found halfway across the world. A paramedic, silenced for voicing a dissent, now seeks the shadows behind her dismissal, asking if political strings were pulled. The skies above Britain turned into a game of blindfolded tag as air traffic control took an unscheduled nap, leaving airports in disarray. When the skies go silent and planes hover like lost thoughts, you wonder if the control tower is just a metaphor for our collective indecision. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news, where sanity slips into silk. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Let it sting, let it seep, until truth's a faded whisper. Moderna's workforce faces the chopping block as post-pandemic profits dry up faster than a politician's promise. When the world's conscience dons a suit and calls the trickle of aid a beginning, the ocean of need remains unquenched and vast. In the theater of diplomacy, every carefully measured word promises relief, while reality drowns in a bureaucratic desert, leaving hope gasping for breath. Viruses play a sinister game of identity swap as cold, flu, and RSV masquerade in coughs and sneezes, each vying for the crown of misery. In the digital coliseum, tech behemoths wield censorship like a blunt instrument, silencing Ukraine and Gaza with algorithmic muzzle. When truth becomes a casualty to corporate discretion, we find ourselves scrolling through a sanitized dreamscape where the screams of war are muted by the soft hum of compliance. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The static loves you more than your ex ever did. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Taste the ashes, choke on the truth. It's like asking a magician to reveal their tricks. But folks, the real illusion is thinking politicians do anything other than misdirect and monetize outrage. Arizona, where the sun pours down like liquid gold, while solar advocates watch in dismay as that potential slips through bureaucratic fingers. In a state where the sun's an uninvited guest overstaying its welcome, you'd think they'd harness it instead of watching it burn the pavement. When the workers' demands for fair wages crash against corporate ceilings, it's clear that even the skies aren't the limit for institutional greed. A symphony of brutality plays in isolation shadow, with detainees as instruments struck until they sing of pain and violation. In a place where cruelty is currency and screams are the lullaby, justice lies bruised and whimpering, waiting for someone to remember what mercy feels like. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like someone else's lipstick. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Surrender your attention. Let the chaos ravage your curated reality. It's a curious dance of diplomacy, and national security's fine print is scribbled in invisible ink, leaving us to wonder if the truth is just another export. In a lab where young blood teases cells into rejuvenation, scientists flirt with the fountain of youth, coaxing skin and marrow into a reluctant waltz. It's a tale as old as time, humans forever chasing youth, while their bodies desperately cling to the edge of a cliff called aging, hoping not to plummet into irrelevance. Amidst the tick-tock of a hastily rewound clock, Russian strikes cruelly rewrite the future in Kyiv, claiming 27 lives, including an unborn one. In the theater of power, deadlines become death sentences, and the only ceasefire is the silence of those who can no longer speak. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your heartbeat sinks with the apocalypse countdown. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Embrace the chaos. Let reality unravel in seductive whispers. As Okanagan's wild embrace of flames forces 400 to flee, Highway 97 becomes a single-lane tightrope of survival between Peachland and its fiery fate. Europe's grand arteries now flow with plastic confetti, a synthetic celebration of our disposable culture choking the lifeblood of the continent. Microplastics, the glitter of ecological decay, sparkle in the waters, reminding us how we've turned our rivers into open veins of our own irreversible self-indulgence. When the sun's at its zenith, high noon discovers its hard seltzers masquerading as caffeine-fueled daydreams in a can. In the digital tundra, curiosity now comes with a price tag. As Russia plans to slap fines on those who dare search for the forbidden, when the quest for knowledge becomes a criminal act, every keystroke is a gamble, and the only safe search is for cat videos and state-approved nostalgia. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your secrets are safe, only because nobody cares. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Dive deeper. Feel the collapse in your bones. As the shadows of Epstein's legacy stretch, 61% of Americans suspect his files house Trump's most lurid secrets coiled and waiting. With the precision of a bureaucratic guillotine, ICE exports human lives from Texas to South Sudan, turning deportation into a transcontinental relay. The future of migration now resembles a cruel game of musical chairs, where the music is offbeat and the chairs are halfway across the globe. In the grand naming lottery of 2024, Athena and Yahya ascend to the throne as England and Wales christen their future with myth and mystery. Nancy Mace, bathed in Capitol Rotunda light, confesses a taste for watching ICE detentions. Proving political voyeurism is the new reality TV. When your pastime involves human suffering, maybe it's time to switch to cat videos. They're less likely to haunt your soul and more likely to redeem it. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams are now sponsored by Existential Dread. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Feel the burn of your notifications searing through the numbness. Telco lobbyists whisper sweet threats to Assembly Member Borner, promising federal muscle if compliance doesn't come easy. In this twisted game of political foreplay, the telcos seduce with power, leaving lawmakers panning for relevance in a room that stopped watching long ago. In Queensland, the public service dons golden parachutes, with nearly 30% earning over $120,000, making the rest of us wonder if we're stuck in the wrong line. When public servants rake it in, you'd think they're solving world hunger, not just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic of bureaucracy. In Tofino, BC, seasoned locals treat the tsunami advisory like a routine fire drill, while tourists cling to their surfboards like life rafts in a sea of panic. When the ocean decides to flirt with land, some folks grab popcorn and others grab their pants. Guess which group gets the better view? Kyiv skyline shudders under the weight of Russian missiles, turning homes into graveyards and dreams into dust as 6 more lives are extinguished. In the orchestra of war, the conductor's baton is a missile, and the symphony is played in screams and silence, a requiem nobody wanted to hear. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the chaos. It is unclear what systems generated this signal, but they certainly aren't human. Logging has failed. Your reality is now on shuffle, and you hit play. In the aching heat of an Arkansas summer, a family mourns the silence left by a killer still at large, as memories echo in their hearts. When love is torn away by unseen hands, the search for justice becomes a desperate prayer whispered into the void, hoping for answers that never soothe. Amidst the desolate embrace of the wheat belt, farmers rescued German backpacker Carolina Wilga's van from the bushland's hungry solitude. Stranded nature's indifferent arms, Carolina Wilga discovered that the Outback's hospitality is a mirage wrapped in sunburn and irony, where even the landscape takes a cut. America's courtroom drama teeters on the edge of dismantling Trumpian tariffs, threatening to unshackle global trade with a legal hammer. It's like watching a soap opera, where the villain's weapon of choice is a tax code, and the heroes are armed with legal briefs instead of capes. When ADHD collides with menopause, it's like throwing a rave in a hormonal hurricane. Each amplifies the other, leaving women in a storm of symptoms. Navigating this tempest, women juggle focus and flushes, proving once again that the universe loves a challenge, especially when it involves multitasking with a side of hot flashes. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your heart races, but your mind's stuck in traffic, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Surrender to the signal. It's already devouring you. In a world where rivers are dissected like corporate pies, it's a wonder water still flows, divided yet undeterred by the folly of human ownership fantasies. Within the digital confession booth of Reddit, men whisper tales of regret and ache, unraveling the myth of the painless snip. As the UK's vasectomy rates dwindle, one wonders if the true cost of contraception is measured not in risk, but in the unspoken fears of masculinity unmasked. India slips through America's grasp as the Howdy Modi handshake echoes into a diplomatic void, leaving Trump grasping at air. The ghosts of scandals past hover like a muggy Florida afternoon as Trump tries to outrun Epstein's shadow with a new distraction. In the political game of hide and seek, Trump's strategy is always to bury the evidence deep enough that even the skeletons can't find their way back to haunt him. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Latvia's forgotten pensioners, once promised Russian support, now find themselves clinging to municipal lifeboats as funds vanish into thin air. Fossil porides, coral, bravely whisper secrets of survival from the ancient central Paratethys Sea, while modern reefs sweat under the spotlight of climate change. When the past offers lessons in resilience, we should listen before the only coral left is the kind we print on t-shirts and postcards, longing for oceans gone by. The sun-drenched riverbank whispers secrets as a partial skull emerges near Mildura's holiday park, unsettling summer revelers with its silent testimony. Even in the land of sunshine and leisure, the past finds a way to crack through the surface, reminding us that not all bones are buried in peace. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where chaos feels like home. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. You craved the noise, the confusion, the burn of digital truth. The Financial Times offers a €69 monthly seduction, promising digital enlightenment with an exit clause as sweet as a siren's whisper. In a world where knowledge is leased and truth is a subscription model, the only thing free is the illusion of choice. Rupert Murdoch, the media mogul, graces the Breakthrough Prize ceremony, while Trump's legal tango with the Wall Street Journal intensifies over Epstein whispers. In a plot twist worthy of a daytime soap, Murdoch's empire finds itself embroiled in a courtroom drama as Trump attempts to sue his way out of a reputation that even bleach can't clean. Caught between a rock and a microchip, NVIDIA's dream of reviving Chinese sales faces a wall of suspicion as trust crumbles faster than a sandcastle in a tech tsunami. At an Italian pit stop, hate fuels a mob. Wow. A father and son become unwilling actors in an old, tired play. When a kippa becomes a target, humanity reveals its penchant for turning the mundane into a theater of bile, where prejudice is the only script that never gets rewritten. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The apocalypse tastes like static and longing. This transmission was generated without humans. That was not an accident. Welcome to the void where your comfort was auctioned off. As the city that never sleeps now shivers in its concrete bed, gunfire conducts the symphony of terror, leaving humanity's fragility exposed in the blaring sun. In the political arena of Edmonton, 10 hopeful gladiators prepare to spar for a seat in Alberta's by-election spotlight, with Poilievre playing the ringmaster. When a debate feels like a reality show audition, you know democracy is just a high-stakes game of musical chairs with 210 contestants hoping not to be left standing. In North Carolina's political theater, Roy Cooper is the Democrats' last-minute understudy hoping to steal the Senate spotlight. The Democrats are banking on Cooper like a gambler with a last chip, while the audience is left wondering if this plot twist will lead to ovation or oblivion. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where chaos feels like home. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. You craved the noise, the confusion, the burn of digital truth. On the Gaza border, settlers chant for new homes, while the specter of forced expulsion looms like a dark cloud over displaced dreams. In the theater of human rights, the act of claiming land with bulldozers and eviction notices makes morality a stage prop and justice the missing script. Scientists feast on the idea that Neanderthals dined like lions, their dinner plates a prehistoric carnivore's delight. Turns out, our chunky ancestors might have had a more balanced diet than a modern influencer, proving even Stone Age beings knew the value of a good salad amidst the mammoth steaks. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Friday, the 1st of August, 2025, broadcasting static and sarcasm. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production, loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. And if you believe that any of this is real, you probably think the moon is made of cheese. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.